The faces of heroin have changed. Images of back alley junkies running from a broken home have now been replaced by people from all walks of life. And as our special CBS 46 Atlanta correspondent Adam Murphy investigates for Michelle Neese, who lost her son Keely to an overdose, this is what the new face of heroin really looks like. We want to warn you, this next part is extremely graphic.
After Keely was buried, I ordered the crime scene photos. And his legs were his legs. But when you got to the torso and above, he was black. His eyes were extremely swollen. His stomach was swollen. Blood was coming out of his ears and his nose.
A tragic final image that can never be erased. Today, Michelle has honored her son's memory by creating the Keely Foundation, a group started both as a support system for addicts and to bring awareness to the community.
We're losing a whole generation in record numbers.
While sadly she wasn't able to save her son, Howell, New Jersey mother Lynn Regan's story is a little different.
Did you ever think you would have a child who was addicted to heroin?
Not in a million years. I got hit in the head with a bat on this one.
Like many parents, Lynn thought heroin was a problem that happened elsewhere and to other people, not to her Daniel.
We were a great family. I'm married 27 years. Love my husband, he loves me. No trauma in our family.
I have two wonderful parents. I have 3 siblings. We were highly involved in each other's lives.
It was an ideal childhood.
It was. I had everything I could need and all the love and care I could ask for in the world.
What he didn't have, to no one's fault, was healthy self-esteem.
I had very bad social anxiety. I was kind of bullied a lot. I just didn't feel a part of something.
Then at the age of 12, Daniel says he discovered marijuana.
When I went back to school, all of a sudden I got this reputation of being this bad boy, this cool guy that did crazy things on the weekends and was risky and adventurous. And I liked that. By 8th grade, I was selling it to my friends. I really got involved in the whole drug lifestyle, the whole being gangster. I'm a white boy that lives in Howell, New Jersey on a horse farm. There's nothing gangster about me, but I totally went right into it.
By high school, Daniel had graduated to harder drugs. Cocaine, ecstasy, whatever he could get his hands on, and as far as he knew, no one was the wiser.
I had a mindset that I was Superman. I could hold everything together. I was a straight A student. I was an honor roll student. I was captain of my swim team. I was a professional motocross rider, and I was able to do this while taking drugs. I thought nothing of it.
But then, a literal fall from grace.
What happened was I crashed my dirt bike. I broke my back. I crushed 3 vertebrae.
So you were prescribed OxyContin for that injury?
Correct.
And you got addicted?
Yeah.
And that's when Daniel's carefully balanced life really began to tip.
I got a full ride scholarship to medical school to become a doctor. And as soon as I went there, that's when all hell broke loose. I found out you could sell these little tiny pills for $20 to $30 each.
So you did that?
Yeah, I had a friend that taught me how to go doctor shopping. So I didn't have one doctor, I had about 5 to 6 doctors at a given time prescribing me about 240 OxyContin every 2 weeks.
240 OxyContin every 2 weeks?
Yes. I was making thousands of dollars selling it.
While at the same time losing everything using it.
I couldn't hold life together after that. There was no way I was faking these 2 different lifestyles.
A full-blown addict, Daniel got kicked out of school and worse.
When I was on my way back home, I had my car full of my whole dorm room, which included all my OxyContin and about $10,000 in a list of people who owe me names. And I got pulled over. I got pulled over for speeding, but as soon as I rolled down my window and he looked at my pupils, he knew I was high. So he brought the dogs out, they ripped apart my car, and they found about 300 OxyContin pills and $10,000.
And that's when Daniel made the decision that would finally lead him to heroin.
I offered to be a snitch. I turned in all my doctors and my drug dealers. But what occurred in that time is I didn't have any places to get Oxycontin anymore because I turned in all my doctors. So I had to move to heroin because it was cheaper. Life really took a turn for the worse after that.
Daniel went from snorting heroin to injecting it, an everyday habit that took its toll in more ways than one.
I sold everything of my possession, and it turned into stealing from my parents. And then once they started catching on, I switched to having to steal from others outside of the household.
What's the worst thing you ever did to score heroin?
I used to work at a gay bar and use my looks to get money from gay men. You'll put yourself in really bad situations, unfortunately. It'll make you do things that you never imagined doing, ever.
Daniel's parents did eventually find out, and though they sent him to several rehabs, nothing seemed to help.
I didn't know how to get through life without heroin anymore.
Things only got worse when Daniel went to a facility 3,000 miles away in California, and just like the other times, checked out early.
I quickly got involved with crystal meth and heroin, and I was shooting both of them, and I've overdosed 5 times.
5 times.
5 times. My girlfriend was an EMT, so she would do CPR. Sometimes I would just fish out, which I would have a seizure, and miraculously I woke up each time.
How close did you come to dying?
I was incoherent. I probably was dead.
And Daniel believes dead is where he'd be today, if not for one very big intervention.
Your mother executed a very dramatic rescue,
Yes.
almost like a CIA mission.
I thought I was gangster all these years, but in fact it was my mother.
Coming up,
I had my spoon in hand. I was just about to shoot up.
desperate measures from a parent in crisis.
Anger set in, crazy set in.
I stood up and I punched the cop in the face.
That's next.